Okay, just a small recap of whatever we have discussed so far. We just discussed purely on the deliverables that we had to prepare for which phase?
Prepare we did yesterday, so today we'll be doing explore.
No, before we get into explore, we'll get into the project management work stream. Okay, we
Oh,
will start with the explore whenever we complete this project management work stream and get into design and configuration work stream, which is
okay.
where most of your explore phase activities will come into picture because of the design here.
Mhm. All right.
Okay, so we will try to close the project management work stream by today and tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
There's, I think, still 45, 50 odd pages that is left. So I will try to cover up that part and then post that maybe from today's what, Thursday, so Friday. So from next week onwards, we'll start with the explore phase deliverables, and parallelly we'll also go about design and configuration work stream right after closing the explore phase deliverables.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
So yesterday we were discussing about this, Activate methodology that follows Agile. It's not purely Agile; it's something hybrid. It follows the process of both Agile as well as your waterfall approaches, both predictive as well as adaptive approaches for project execution. Basically, it's a hybrid. All right. So, we were talking about the different types of sprint: foundation, building, and firm up sprint. So, if you could recollect all these three, so just to be precise, foundation is your main or core configuration. Building is your main configuration, and then firm up is you fixing your bugs and getting the product ready to showcase and to ask the business users to go for UAT. That is the firm up sprint. Okay, so we spoke about releases. Then we ended up right here. When we talked about how things will work, foundational sprint, then build sprint one, build sprint two, on iterations. We took the example of having 100 risers along with configuration, 50 here, 50 there, and the second build sprint, and then in the firm up sprint, you test complete. Sorry, 50 in your build sprint one and build sprint two, you do your firm up, you complete this, and the rest of the 50 you do it in three and four. Then you completely close your 100 risers. Then you test it. Then you go for deployment into the production. So this is for release one, and there are chances, as I told you, that we may take the approaches of a wave also. So each wave, as we move further, we will have different releases or plans. It depends on the project requirements. Okay, this is where we ended yesterday. So for today, I will probably increase. So able to see the screen properly.
Yes, I can see this.
Okay. Okay, so how do you start your Scrum? Basically, this also will reflect upon few things in Expert, because this project management work stream is very common for us across all the phases, right? So you cannot ignore Scrum in any one of the phases. You need to have a Scrum. You need to collect and monitor, collect data from the team. Put your reports together and share it to your management for reporting purposes. You need to communicate to your team. You need to prepare your let's say tracking. I mean, you need to monitor and control your project as to how it drives, as so that it can deliver the value that you intend to provide to the customer. So this project management work stream will bring the topics of entire four phases. Okay. um, this particular infographic that you see on the screen, they are trying to put it across for the explore phase. Okay, so how do you start Scrum in your explore phase? Is that I mean, this is all basic. Whatever you see on this part is basic. So you initialize Scrum. You assign the Scrum roles. So you say these are all the team who is going to take care of things. These are all the individual functional modules. then your functional leads, your scrum master if there is someone as such, then project coordinators. You provide trainings for them. And how this works is basically in terms of solution validation workshop A, which is your fit to standard workshop. You do a demo solution, you showcase the demo solution, then you collect the requirements, you add it to the backlog, you prepare the user stories, you plan for your sprints. Okay, this is point number one in terms of workshop A, which is fit to standard. Again, fit to gap analysis workshop, if you take, your backlog is now here, your initial backlog. Then based on this, you have a foundation sprint. You have all three. You have all three sprints that you need to take care of, which is basically you do your documentation things, right? You do your documentation, you prepare your rise of list, you prioritize that, and then finally when you come out of that, your whatever is the gaps that you have, you would have arrived at a solution. You would have documented what the solution are for the gaps. You would have documented how the business process flows in terms of a solution design document. And then finally, you will also prepare a backlog, which will contain the prioritized objects as well as the objects that you're supposed to do after the go live, post your go live during your hypercare. So completely your product backlog is going to be ready by this time. It is just that they are trying to say that you need to properly initiate a scrum in the explore phase, and you need to start collecting data, assign the roles and responsibilities of the team members, so that you can deliver your product backlog at the end. This product backlog does not necessarily mean rise of alone. It is also including the configurations when it comes to SAP. Okay. You can segregate the backlog types as development or configuration. The configurational items also has to be listed in the backlog for you to govern it later. Then the second part of it would be the RISEFs, which out of 100, if you have to prioritize 40, 100 will be part of the backlog and 40 will be part of something else, which you have prioritized, that will be taken for development during your realize where before go live. So you got this point?
Yeah.
Okay, so you will understand it better when we get into the templates and things. Maybe if you're not able to relate, tomorrow I'll cover up few templates in the explore phase also. Okay, so that you can relate it better. I will show you how a backlog is built, how a solution design document will be, and how a roles and authorization matrix will be, how a functional specification will be. So these four are the primary topics that you need to be aware of. And apart from that, you have some other templates which each one follows. It's all Excel sheet. However you want to maintain, you can maintain them. So four things which is very important. One is integrations. I mean, solution design document. Then if there is any integration, you have an integration design document. Maybe I'll list it down in our Excel sheet itself for your better understanding. Okay, you conduct workshops, no? Workshops, you have an MOM. This is number one. Okay, you'll need to publish your MOM. Then solution design document. But before this, you need to prepare. Okay, I would not say you will not be able to prepare at this point. I would say requirements tracker. Okay, you will track all the requirements that they have, whether it is custom or it is standard. So you you indicate solutions there. If it is achievable as part of standard, you put it as a standard. If it is not standard, you record it as a gap.
Okay.
And that gaps will be discussed during a fit to gap analysis workshop, which is workshop B. Solution validation workshop A, solution validation workshop B. This is workshop B, right? So you do your this thing gap analysis workshop. By then, you will be able to prepare a solution design document. You will be able to prepare a product backlog, okay, which includes your configurational elements as well as customizations, which is rise of. Okay. Then you have integration design document if it is applicable. If you are integrating with any other third-party systems, how are you going about integrating? So here you have a high-level picture, right, about what scenarios, what fields, how is the integration going to be. Here you dig deep and you put a process flow to that as well. So where does the trigger point comes? How the information flows? What format it flows? How do we communicate back? How are we going to handle the exceptions? So these factors will be taken care during this integration design workshop, right? Then you have something which is called as rise of catalog, which is nothing but your um, prioritized objects. I was referring, right, that I mean, you might land up at 100 customizations, 100 rise-ups. However, as part of your implementation, you might have only 40 in the
Yeah.
contract. So if
Yes.
that is the case, what is the 40 that you're going to deliver? That will be part of your rise-up catalog after prioritization.
Okay.
Okay, this is something you need to deliver. Then functional specification. So this functional specification is for all the 40 rise-ups that is prioritized. You need to tell this is a business logic, this is a functional logic on which the technical team has to code and do the relevant customizations. Okay, this is a functional specification that will detailedly explain how that 40 objects has to be developed. Okay, then you have roles and authorization matrix. Then you might have user uh, I would say user log or user identification. Do you remember this point where we were talking about who are all the people who need to have a SAP user ID and what are all the roles? Let's say
Yeah,
whether
the
they are key
licenses.
users. Sorry.
Are you talking about the SAP licenses?
Yes.
Yeah.
How many licenses has to be there? How do we segregate that? Are
Mm.
we in line with the license that was procured and the expectation from the business? So this is something that you will do here. Then apart from this, you will have functional specification is done, roles and authorization is done. You will have something called as data load preparation strategy. Okay.
Okay.
Then you will have, that's all basically. After this, you prepare for your Q gate, you get a phase closure. Okay, this is ideally the phase, I mean deliverables for a explore phase. Okay, if I think I've sequenced it properly. If I probably miss something else, if I remember something else later, I'll also add it in between. All right. However, this is to a greater extent, this is what it is.
Okay.
Okay. Now I was talking about your workshop B, which is you have an initial backlog. Let's say I was referring to MSCW. This is MSCW. What's the priority? Then how you can structure. So if you check here, you have individual teams, finance team, controlling team, SD. These are all individual modules. For those modules, you have a foundation sprint, how much ever build sprints that you want, then a firm up sprint. This is the sequence. And in each of the sprint, this activities will fall into picture. You do a sprint planning, then you do a sprint execution, which is basically what activities that you need to do. Then you do a sprint review and sprint retrospective. So these four you're already aware, right? Or you want me to explain further?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, fine. So as part of the delta design, what is being done is listed here. Basically, you update your business process, then you design the solution and you visualize the solution, how it is going to flow. This happens during a sprint planning and sprint execution. What happens during a sprint review is that you verify the processes and then you make the people accept the processes that you have designed in your document, basically. Okay, this is how it will be structured. uh, I mean, just maybe there are chances that your projects and your team might follow the sprint planning and user stories procedure. It's all time boxed events, basically. So instead of planning in sprints, we plan it based on WBS. So when we take configuration, we set up a timeline. When we take unit testing, we set up a timeline. String testing, we set up timeline. So these are all individual sprints that you can have also. So it all completely depends on how your PMO is structured and how they would like to execute a project. Okay, this is the standard way that SAP has suggested. However, it depends on the organization that you're working for and what your PMO suggests.
Okay.
Okay, then it's all again releases and go lives. How does it happen? Okay, so your development. So here we have, I mean, over here, what you have done, you have already, uh, you have configured your systems. You are ready for deployment at this stage, right? Right after you do a solution walkthrough with the business, then you are ready for moving this to production. So here they they are mentioning that dev and quality systems are already configured. It's all ready. Now what happens is that whatever is the increments that you need to develop and test and give, you do all those increments on an iterative basis, which is the build up sprint. You build all these sprints, and right after you're done with all your increments, you're good to go. All your 40 rise ups are done. You go for the deployment activities, you complete your deployment activities. So I was also referring to release one, release two, right? Back then.
Yeah.
So here, if you see, they're talking about, so here you have done 40 as part of the backlog, assuming you have 100, so there is 60 more left which you have to deliver. So right after deploy, there is release 2, wherein you are going to complete all your 60 odd rise of objects which is left. Then you go for deploy, which is release 2. Then you go for operations and support. So you can plan it on the basis of releases as well. So you're able to understand this part, no?
Yeah.
How it will be structured. So these are all important for you to plan your project. So when we talk about project planning, it's important for you to understand this part. And where this will also help you is that in terms of product backlog, for sure everyone has their own priorities. People from finance will say you need to develop my object, that's my priority. People from sales will say they have to develop their custom requirements. So it's all very scattered. So it is you who have to drive the show, stating that we can probably take it in the second release. Take the negotiation, tell them that these are all more important objects which will deliver business value. The lesser value objects you can have it for the release too. So you can plan your releases as such. So if you have a support contract as well, you can plan your backlogs in terms of releases. So this process is little complicated, or let's say this process requirements, it's still not clear. It's not yet properly given, it's not properly signed off. So let's not put it in release 1, you put it under release 2. After, during the phase of hypercare, I'll deliver this to you. So these kind of conversations you can take it with your customer project manager, right? So if you're clear with this part, this is pretty much about sprints, what happens, and how you can structure your releases and all those stuff. Are you clear on all these parts?
Yeah, as of now, yes.
Okay, let's move on then. So you're aware of burn down chart, right?
Yeah, I am, but I haven't
Okay.
prepared it.
Okay. I mean, even I haven't. It's not something to prepare. It's
Mm-hmm.
just that if you're using a tool, by default, it'll have a burn down chart. The ideal scenario is that it comes down. So as you move further in a project, your activity should come down. If the activities are getting increased, it means that there is a serious issue with your scope.
Okay.
Okay, that's the concept of burn down chart, wherein you will be able to focus your actual work speed. So let's say you have 100 product backlog.
Mm-hmm.
What is the work that got added? What is the work that got completed? What is the work that is remaining? What is being planned? So this is something that you keep on. This keeps on evolving. So if it is a product at the nascent stage, for sure you will have too much of work requirements. But the goal is to get the backlog down and to push uh, for reduction of your work completion. So which is why here if you see 100 tasks is there, 70 remaining, then 40 remaining, then 30 remaining, and 20 got added during a sprint two. So it's all it is a continuous process basically. So you'll be able to look at your activities, how you're progressing in the project based on sprints, and whether you're going in a proper idle scenario or your scope is getting changed. You'll be able to track it better with your burn down chart. Okay, say for example, this is something in case of agile and iterative projects. But when it comes to SAP, when you're very concrete that this is going to be your activities, 40 objects, let's say 500 odd business processes. If that is the case, and this is your go live date, obviously for sure when the the realize phase starts probably with 3,000 activities. And then as you move closer to the phase closure, the 3,000 will become less. And by the time of phase closure, probably it would be somewhere between 4 or 5, which will be remaining, which is your Q gate and phase closure. That's all. So it will come down. So whenever it's a predictive project, it comes down wherein the activities does not get increased. When it is an agile project in this manner, which is example one, your activities keeps on getting added. The number of activities remaining keeps getting changed according to the requirements that flows into your project. Okay, this is basically the burn down chart. Then you have a Scrum board. Have you ever used a Scrum board?
No, like I know, but haven't got chance.
Okay. I mean, usually we don't. You just maintain your statuses in your Excel sheet. That's all is the
Yeah,
Scrum board that
yeah,
we have.
yes,
Because all we are all working virtually. Maybe back in the olden days, you might have a Scrum team. You have a daily Scrum meeting wherein you have a board and you write down what is pending, what is not. You put a sticky note there and try to track it there. Even now
yeah,
people are following that, but it's all very rare. It's all completely digitized now. We either have it in Excel sheet because we're all working virtually many a times. Otherwise we have a central tool wherein we maintain all the things like Jira or MS
yeah,
projects or whatever be the case.
yes.
Even in Jira I think it will be there. Your Scrum board is available, both Scrum board and this thing, your burn down chart is available in Jira. Maybe you can check that out.
Yeah, but we are not using it. We are just
Yeah, maybe
maintaining
you're
it.
not using, but you can at least try
Yeah, I
whether there's something that option is available. I'm not sure if that is activated already, that
mm-hmm.
feature. You can maybe check in your Jira. Okay, so next is your information radiators, which is nothing but you put down informations in your let's say your sticky board or whatever be the case with a pin attached. I mean, you put posters. If you know there's a cloth board wherein you stick information there. So this is where we are a status report. For example, a weekly status report, you will publish it to your entire team. Your project team as well as project team meaning the customer team as well as your internal consultants, so as to understand what is the exact status of the project, where we stand, how do we proceed further, right? So things as such we can probably put it across as information radiators. In case you are all in the same office working together, you can put down some information which can help them in case if there is a release that is planned. You can put down information radiator that there is a release planned 2 weeks down the line and this is all the new features, such that all the rest of the team members who are going to use the product will get benefit out of that. So
Oh,
that's how it is. And then you have your Nexus framework, which even I'm not pretty sure. It's very similar to that of a general sprint or a Scrum team. This is all Scrum topics, which I think we will cover more during our Scrum and Agile conversations also. Okay, we'll probably cover it back then. It's a scaling Scrum. Basically, they will try to say how do we all gel together if we are handling multiple projects, multiple dependent projects, which is a program basically.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For example, I'm working on a module. It's a large module. I have 4 or 5 team members who are sitting across 4 or 5 countries. This happens in an SAP project. Basically, if you're handling a large scale conglomerate project, your teams will be scattered like anything. Your teams probably would be sitting in US, sitting in India, sitting in Canada, sitting in Singapore, sitting in Indonesia. There are chances like this. Okay, but then how do we all communicate with each other is through scaling Scrum, or they will call it Scrum of Scrums. That's a framework that they have. So if you see, it's all the same. You plan your sprints across all the Scrum teams. So for example, US team is a Scrum team, Canada team is a Scrum team, Singapore team is a Scrum team, Indian team is a Scrum team. We are all
Mm-hmm.
different teams who will have different modules. How do we all gel together? I'm doing for India, you're doing for USA. There might be rules and regulations, or that might differ. The taxations that might differ. All these that you will take care. However, the foundations are going to be the same. In order for us to align together on the foundations and to set the system right, what we will do is we will all gel together. We will all pass the status together to the project managers individually, and the project managers will in turn pass it on to the program manager, such that the program completely will reach to the objective that they have set. That's how it works. So what this means is basically your Scrum teams, which is individual project teams who are sitting in different countries, will be part of the sprint planning. Then they'll add it to the backlog. The Nexus integration team is basically in the example that I quoted, our project managers who are all responsible to integrate individual teams. They'll all have again a Scrum internally. How do we operate? You have a this again depends. Whatever I'm just trying to relate to an example and communicate to you. This again depends on the project that you are going to operate for. So how do you 3 to 9 Scrum team? It says, how do you get status? For example, I am sitting in India, I'm doing FI. You are sitting in Canada, you're doing FI. How do we both come together? You have an integrator or a project coordinator or a Scrum master in between who will set up a Scrum for FI alone, finance alone, or HR alone. We will all sit together and discuss, brainstorm there. And then when it comes to the whole team, Indian project manager and US project managers will have individual Scrum calls to align the module together.
Okay.
So it can happen cross functionally. So that's how usually it will be planned. So that is what is being listed here. You have different project Scrum teams which you have to integrate together, and through daily Scrums, which happens with your individual project managers, and through Nexus Scrums, which is basically between the project Scrum teams, you will be able to execute your project better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is basically a scaling Scrum. So how do we scale from one single team who is delivering a singular project to a larger complex team who is doing multiple things into a program or a portfolio for a company? Okay, this is all whatever that I explained. They have given the theoretical content. Maybe you can read through this later.
Yeah.
Okay, project governance again. How do you govern the project? Basically, these are all the different factors that you can probably look into. So, how do you govern your roles and responsibilities? How do you manage your risk? How do you manage your resources? How do you manage your escalations? Which is why we had escalation matrix. How do you
Mm.
manage risk? We had risk register. So we'll continuously keep monitoring that. How do you manage your resources? You will have a section in project management plan which will say if there is a resource change or resource swap, how do we go about executing the swap? So you have a plan or a process flow designed for that. You introduce the new resource, the old resource and the new resource will come, I mean, will work together for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and the KT plan will be published with customer project manager and the vendor project manager in CC. Then daily Scrum meeting invites will be sent, recordings has to be shared, detailed documentations has to be submitted, project shared folder and other team access should be given. So there will be certain checklist that you can prepare for you to swap resources in between a project. So those things are part of your governance. Again, how do you, what is your project policy? How do you work? What's your work time? Whether you follow the calendar of the customer or whether you follow the calendar of the vendor.
Mhm.
How do you go about taking leaves? How do you operate your shifts? All these things are what is will be falling under your project governance, basically. Okay, this is the basis on which you take your decisions. Not just you, even the entire project team members will take decisions based on the governance model that we set for the project. It is important for you to do this, establish this in the project management plan, and keep it keep your customer project team as well as your internal project team aware of the governance model that you will execute. Okay, this is a framework, basically whatever that we spoke about: the scope,
Mhm.
value, risk, standards, your KPIs, your resources, which is the team, and then the organizational alignment. So this is all theoretical. Maybe you can check this out later when you get some time.
Okay.
Okay, roles again. I think we by now you must be able to get understanding of these things: project sponsor, project manager,
Mm.
solution architect, application consultant, who are basically either functional consultants or technical consultants, both. Then you have steering committee, operating committee, both. You
Mhm.
have cross-functional member teams. Then you have scrum master, product owner. In ceremonies, you have daily stand-up, scrum of scrums, sprint planning, sprint review.
Yeah.
Okay, this is on the basis of governance model. So this is about the roles. Uh, they would have given it very specific to teams. You can maybe check this out. So on a higher level, implementation partner is the vendor. Customer business is the people who are doing actually the business, which is basically your sales team, HR team from the customer side.
Mhm.
Then your customer IT who will lead the SAP project,
Okay.
who are responsible for this application as an SAP. Okay, you
Mhm.
can segregate this and read through all these things later. Individual work streams who will be responsible for these particular parties is what is being given here. Okay, you might be able to relate to it as you go through. So for project management, whatever that we are discussing right now, who will be involved from our side? Project
Mhm.
sponsor, the manager. If there is someone called quality manager who is the quality lead, that guy will be involved. And then project administrator or coordinator. Similarly, from the customer side also. Then again, from the IT side, you have IT head, IT project manager, quality manager. That's all. So you will be able to relate it as you read through the individual work streams. Now you may not be because you have not understood all these work streams, but as you
Mhm.
move across further, you will be able to understand. So let's skip this. And once we have concluded on the content that is required for all the other work streams, you can come back to this and read through this so that you will understand. Okay, again, they have given roles. They have given an explanation of the roles, which I think you'll be able to understand when you read it. Okay, what they're responsible for, what is their uh, role in the, what is the roles and responsibilities in particular to this party. So if there's a quality manager from the partner side, what should be their responsibility? From the IT side, what should be their responsibility? So they have given these things. You can probably use this as part of your project also. So if there's any uh, role clarity that you need to get, you can refer to this section. Okay, in the this thing yesterday I showed you, no, escalation matrix, project, organization structure.
Yeah.
So it's the same. L1, L2, L3, L4 is your organization. I mean escalation matrix,
Mm-hmm.
and your project structure will be like your team, then your operating committee, integrating committee, which is basically your customer IT as well as your customer business. Then your steering committee, the members who are involved in the project, which is project sponsor, then the departmental heads, whoever is part of the steering committee, the management team, who is responsible for the SAP project. Then the executive board, CEOs, CXOs, CFOs, people like them, or the directors or more board members, I would say.
Okay.
Okay. So usually the escalations happens like this. The decisions will come from the top to the bottom. This is how it is. Okay, they would have given their roles and responsibilities to each of these members. So they set the project vision, approves what they're supposed to allocate, give the funding for the project. Then steering committee, they provide the project goals. What is the expected results out of that? What are the changes that we can have to the project during our execution? So basically, steering committee only will approve a change request if we have anything. Then these guys will probably pass it on to the operating committee, whoever is part of the execution team, maybe the customer project manager or customer IT project manager. So they'll steering committee members will not be usually part of the project execution daily activities. They'll just be for decision making. You will have to
Mm-hmm.
report to them, as I told you, every bi-weekly or let's say every monthly or every phase wise, depends on the uh, alignment you take with the customer. You will have steering committee meetings. Okay, then I mean they're responsible for providing the taking the decisions, and if there's any unresolved issues, they take it to the executive board. For example, if there is a new third party system, they're asking the business. Okay, they have
Mm-hmm.
not disclosed during the discover phase. They're asking it now. And you from the vendor side are saying, I have not considered this. It is a large scope. I will not be able to deliver. It's an unresolved issue, which, and you have asked them for additional money, additional team. And then that becomes an escalation that goes to the steering committee. Steering committee says, okay, we'll discuss with the board and come back whether we can secure some budget. Then they will go talk to the board and come back. It's all part of the steering committee job. Okay, similarly, operating committee and integrating committee. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so operating committee, when it comes to this, they manage all the work streams. So they're basically the customer project manager, I would say. So they are responsible, how you're responsible from the partner side to drive the project, move it ahead. The operating committee, as such, it is just the project coordinators and a customer project manager from the customer end. Okay, they'll be responsible to coordinate entire activities across all the work streams. Then delegates authority to ongoing meetings, which is basically they will have certain coordinators who will see what is operations basically. For you to execute something, you need to be on the operations. For someone to complete a project, you need to
Mm-hmm.
operate. The operations has to flow.
Yeah.
So these guys are basically the ones who will make sure everything is coordinated well, everything is monitored, whether things are on track. These guys are the ones who will take care of things. Okay, integrating committee again. These guys are pretty much the business team members, I would say. Okay, they are the ones who will finalize the business process. They are the ones who will provide us with the data. They are the ones who will who will help us to strategize, who will who will give us the requirements, who will validate our solutions. These guys are the ones who will do that. Okay. Then
Okay.
ongoing meetings is your regular project team. Uh, from our side, it's project teams, the consultants. From their
Mm-hmm.
side, it might be the key users or the BPOs, core team members, basically. Then project roles, they have given it by governing bodies, which is who will be part of steering committee, who will be part of integration committee, who will be part of operating committee, who will be part of the meetings. Okay, these things you can check it out later. Okay, are you aware of the concept of product owner?
I know product owner, like the
Okay.
concept as in.
No, it's just that if there is a module in place or if there is a product in place,
Mm-hmm.
those guys are the makers, ultimate decision makers. In terms of how it has to be structured, how it has to be designed, how it has to be taken forward. So if there are 10 different backlogs, which one to prioritize? Those are the product owners are the one who will be responsible to tell us. How do you design it? They'll tell us. Whether the solution that you have drafted is right, whether it will suit them, they'll tell us, the product
Mm-hmm.
owners. They are the ultimate deciding authority for that particular product basically, or for the module. Okay.
Okay.
How it can be structured is three different things. End-to-end process owner. So I was referring to business process owners, right? BPOs.
Mm-hmm.
So if we talk about BPOs, let's say in HR, you might have few people who is specialized in operations, which is employee life cycle management. You will have some people who is specialized in L&D. You will have some people who is specialized in recruitment. So there are individual things, right? So if there
Mm-hmm.
is someone who is aware of all the things, they become end-to-end process owner.
Okay.
So if someone is part of recruitment, they don't know anything about learning and development, let's say, they become modular process owner. Okay, it'll flow like this. Then a process customer, even I'm not really sure what's a process customer. Might be internal or external individual organization which interacts with end-to-end or model by triggering process flows or using outcomes. Okay, so these are the ones who will consume process customer are the ones who will consume the processes. So you might be responsible for the design. However, it has to be consumed by someone, right? Uh, you set up the design. I utilize that feature. So basically, that process, whoever is going to consume that process and carry out the process, they become the process customer. So these are all the three different functions with whom the product owner will interact. Sometimes all these three will be a singular person. If there's a small industry, or if it's a large or medium scale industry, all the three different things will be different people.
Okay. Okay. One of my cousin, he is a product owner, so I can get insights from him.
Yeah. So if you predominantly ask them, they'll say they'll own a product,
Mm-hmm.
and they will be responsible to talk to the project managers. They have to prepare a roadmap for the product. Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever is the market trends, they'll have to understand that. Whatever is the customer feedback, they'll have to understand that. Whatever is their own feedback, they'll have to incorporate that into the backlog, prioritize it, provide it to the project managers so that they'll work along with the development teams, get it done, and they'll have to test it along with them. And basically, they'll be responsible for the success or failure of the project.
Okay.
Not the project, product.
Mm.
Project is for the project managers. When it comes
Yes.
to the product, it becomes the responsibility of a product manager or a product owner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there are again two different concepts. Product owner is someone, product manager is someone. For a product owner, if you're talking about a product that has too many modules, you might have one product owner and two, three product managers, beneath them who will manage the product. So this can also be a case. Okay, so you can maybe read through the theoretical content. And again, this is all standard content, which I think we'll cover it up during our Agile section, Scrum section. The Agile coach, Scrum master, Scrum team, again, the Scrum team. What's the team size? Who are all the people who will be responsible? So are you able to relate to these roles? Maybe can you check this out?
Yeah.
Who will
Scrum
be a
Master.
security expert?
Security expert. Let me just say. System administrator.
Correct. Who is a system administrator? What's the module?
What's the module?
Yeah, starts with B.
B.
Yeah, basis.
Oh, okay, okay. Basis team. Yeah.
Right. ABAP is again a module. Right. Then these might not be the actual case, but it's just a picture, I mean, infographic that they're trying to demonstrate.
Okay.
However, the functional consultant will only be the training materials developer, test case developer
Okay.
in many cases. Who is an application consultant?
Application consultant. The one who will develop the application.
No, no, that is ABAP
Okay.
developer. Your application
Developer.
consultant is basically your SDMM, HR,
Oh,
functional
okay.
consultants.
Okay, okay. Functional consultants.
Okay. Then you have business solution architect.
Hmm.
What's the role? I mean, did we ever discuss about the role of a solution architect?
No,
Okay. So
not
you have
yet.
different modules, right? This is something that you need to understand. Maybe if there is no solution architect in a project, it becomes the responsibility of the project manager to play the role of a solution architect. Okay, many times. However, it's not ideally the case. In small companies, maybe that might be a chance. The only reason why for implementations we have senior project managers is because they would have had experience in 4 to 5 modules. They understand the modules. They'll be able to integrate the team better and bring solutions. That's the reason why predominantly whenever you see an opening for an SAP project manager, it will be 10 to 15 years of experience minimum, I would say, for anyone. Okay. Or in some cases, the minimum would be 7 to 8. You will never see a project manager in SAP
Mm-hmm.
for any large size organization. For small startups, for small companies, it's still fine. You might be having project managers, but they're not actually project managers. They're basically project coordinators who just take care of the incidents, ITSM support. That's all. When you want to involve uh, yourself in a complete greenfield project wherein you travel to the customer site, implement SAP for them, you need to have at least three minimum of 7 to 8 years of experience, wherein you will be able to understand the entire picture of an SAP application, irrespective of modules. You need not be well versed in all the modules, which is you need not know the configuration, the field names, the technicalities of that. However, you need to be able to talk the business process flows, whatever happens within that modules. Okay. So, what is the role of a solution architect? Is that for designing a solution completely for the business, you have different functions, right? You have procurement, sales, HR, manufacturing, plant maintenance. All these people has to finance. All these people has to integrate together in the system. That's the purpose of ERP. So what to do, how to design the solution, it's the role of the solution architect to integrate everything together. Consultant will know They know a little bit of how to integrate with SD. However, absolute thought clarity will be there for the solution architect, and he will only validate the entire solution that is built by the functional consultants. If there is any corrections to that, if there is any improvisations, the solution architect will be responsible to provide it to the functional team during the solution design documentation process. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I think we are at 8:25. Do you
Yeah,
still?
we should stop. It's only 5 minutes left for my meeting. I need to prepare a little bit.
All right, no issues. So we are stopping at 82. So let's continue from 82 maybe tomorrow. We'll try to wrap it up by tomorrow, this particular
Oh,
section.
yes.
Okay, see you then. Well, let's catch up tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.